In today's video, I will be giving you 12 fragrances from 4 different brands, and I will give you the best from each brand, I will give you the worst from each brand, and I also will give you something that's somewhere in between. All of these fragrances are mainly unisex fragrances, with the exception of maybe 4, so ladies, this video is for you also. And these brands consist of Serge Lutens, they consist of Lattafa, Versace, and also Historis de Perfumes. The first house that we're going over is Historis de Perfumes. Now this first fragrance may be a little challenging, but for those who are into fragrances, who have been into fragrances a while, this is their best one from the line, and that fragrance is 1740. Now the opening is very challenging, you get that bergamot, but what makes this fragrance challenging is that patchouli along with that coriander. The opening is very lovely for people who've been into fragrances, but if you're new into fragrances, you might not like this opening. Then once it goes into the heart, that's when the fragrance begins to get better. You get some of that leather, you get some resinous notes. And then the base, you get some of that vanilla. I'm telling you, this is a very nice, seductive, elegant scent. Now this is an earthy, spicy, resinous leather, and that is 1740. To me, in my opinion, it's the best from the line. Now to be honest with you, I like all these fragrances from this house, but the worst for me from this line, if you want to know what aldehyde smell like, this is filled with aldehydes. And all the notes in here screams that it's for winter time, but it's actually a nice summer, spring, fall fragrance, and that is Not Another Blue scent 1.1. You get the aldehydes in the opening, you get some orange notes. Then when it goes into the heart, you get a real thick honey, very sweet, very thick. Then in the base, you're left with amber and a musk. Now this is fresh, it's sweet, and it's fruity. And that's Not Another Blue 1.1. Now the one that fits somewhere in between, and it's not because it's a bad fragrance. Actually, I like this fragrance over probably the first one because it leans a little bit feminine, but a man can wear it, but a very lovely, seductive scent. And that's Not Another Blue 1.3. Now this is one of those fragrances you have to ignore the ratings. Now this opened with a very juicy blood orange, makes it very fruity. Then in the heart, that's when the magic starts to shine. You get some florals of rose, you get some spices from saffron. With the patchouli coming in the base to blend everything out, makes it very seductive, very inviting. Now this is a spicy, floral, oriental, and that's Not Another Blue 1.3. Next house up is the house of Versace. It was kind of hard to pick like a worse in this, so I had to pick one that was worse than the rest of them. So coming in for the best fragrance from the house of Versace, and that's Nebres à Ishq Noir. Now this is an all-base fragrance. A little goes a long way. I'm telling you, you would get at least 3 feet projection off about 2 dabs behind your ears, maybe your neck. Now the opening is very intriguing. You get some oranges, you get some lemon, and you get this green leafy note, and the combination is very inviting. Then when this goes in the heart, you get some light touches of florals. Neither one is overly dominant of jasmine and rose. It sit back a little bit, so it's not up front. You're also gonna get some cardamom that adds some sexiness, some spiciness, while in the base you get amber and patchouli that blends everything out. Smell almost like a cookie or pastry or something like that, but a very nice, seductive scent that's woody, it's spicy, and it's resinous, and that's Nebres à Ishq Noir. This particular house, I'm not going to do a worse because none of them are bad in my opinion. This probably ranked, in my opinion, probably in the 8s. But the one that's worst from this line is from the Quasamont line, Rossana. Now, if you like the note of cedarwood, this is a very lovely fragrance. My girlfriend actually loved this fragrance on me. Get plenty of compliments wearing it from her. The top start off with lemon and apple. Then in the heart, you get some cypriol that adds a woody, almost earthy tone to it. Then in the base, you get a sharp cedar, you get a spicy amber, and you get a very clean musk. I'm telling you now, this is not a bad fragrance. It shouldn't even be classified as a worst, but I had to find one to put in the worst. Now this is citrusy, spicy, and it's woody. Very nice fragrance from the house of Versace, and that's Rossana. Now the one that falls somewhere between, and if you're looking for a very fruity, very citrusy fragrance, think of it like Herba Pura from the house of Xerjoff, but I think this is more smoother, it's more richer, and to me I like it more than the Xerjoff. I just think it's a better fragrance in my opinion. And this also is an all-base fragrance where a little goes a long way, and that is Cherokee. Now in the opening you get a burst of citruses consisting of lemon, bergamot, and orange. Provides a very citrusy opening. Then in the heart, you get a lot of fruits. Now the fruits consist of, I get a green apple, I get some pineapple, maybe a cherry note even. But the top and the heart is very citrusy, very fruity. Then in the base, you get some woods. You get a very clean musk. You get a spicy amber. You're also going to get a sweet bourbon vanilla that adds a little booziness to it. Now this is a citrusy, fruity, woody gourmand, and that is Ciroc. Next house is a house that really don't get talked about a lot. And to me, this fragrance never got talked about, but to me, it's better than the ones that did get all the hype. And this is from the house of Serge Lutens, and that's 5 o'clock Oud Gingerbread. Now when this open up, you're gonna get a green tea note. You're gonna get some bergamot that makes it green and citrusy. Then the magic in the heart consists of cinnamon and ginger. Smell like gingerbread, to be honest with you. They give it like a gourmand feel. Then the base, you get some honey that makes it rich and thick. Some cacao that adds chocolate, and you're gonna get a light patchouli that's not dominant. Now this is a spicy, sweet, woody gourmand, and that's 5 o'clock Oud Gingerbread. One of my favorite gourmands and one of the best from this brand. Now the worst from this house, if you want something that smells like peels, like an orange peel, like some dried fruits consisting of dates. If you like fig notes, it's not a bad scent, but I can see why people would be turned off from this fragrance because it's very weird. It's not something that you're used to smelling. And the worst from this house is Arabian. In the opening, you get some dates, you get a dried fig, and if that's not enough, that's when you get some cloves. Now the combination of those three notes make this fragrance very weird. It's wearable to me, but I can see why people won't like it. And then if that's not enough, in the base you're getting cumin, you're getting resins, you're getting nutmeg, you're getting cedar, you're gonna get slight bit of tobacco note, and all those notes combined makes it a very weird, fruity, dark fragrance, spicy fragrance that's sweet, fruity, spicy, and very resinous. If you don't like dark fruits, if you don't like figs, if you don't like resinous fragrances, if you don't like weird fragrances, you won't like this, but to me it smells great, and that is Arabian. And the one that falls somewhere in between, it used to get a lot of hype back in the days, but to me it wasn't as good as people hyped it to be, but it's still a nice fragrance, and that fragrance is Shirley. Now the tobacco and honey dominates this fragrance. A very pronounced tobacco, a very pronounced honey. Then in the heart, you're gonna get a hay note that makes the whole thing very grassy, like you're out in the field working with tobacco, hay, and near honey. Then in the base, you get amber that's bringing spice. Then in the base, you get amber that's bringing spice, and you get musk. Now this is woody, it's sweet, and it's spicy. And that's Shirley from the house of Serge Lutens. The last house we're going over is from the house of Lattafa, and to me, the best from this line, but the opening starts out very challenging, but it's very niche-like at a very nice cost, and that is opening Oud. Now the opening starts out with a heavy dose of saffron, and that gonna last throughout the fragrance. Then once it goes in the heart, you get that typical rose oud combo, but in this, some reason it smells a little darker than most rose oud combo. Then in the base, the amber sits up front, the cedar wood sits in the back. That makes this a very lovely fragrance that I also get a lot of compliments wearing. It's very cheap. I think it's probably around 30 bucks, but it's a very nice fragrance if you get past that opening. Now this is sweet, spicy, it's woody, and it's resinous, and that's Opening Oud from the house of Lattafa. Now the worst from this line, and it received a lighter hype a couple years back, and you have to be into sickly sweet fragrances. You got to be into a lot of smoky fragrances, but to me, I get tired of wearing this after about 3 hours. I'm ready to wash it off, and that fragrance is Amir Air Oud Intense Oud. Now I had the first version of this, didn't like it, and I sold it. Now the opening consists of nutmeg and saffron that add in spice. In the heart, you get latimer that makes it very smoky. Then in the base, the vanilla what makes it very sickly because it's an overly sweet vanilla. And then you get some oud that makes it woody. Now this is woody, it's sweet, and it's very smoky. Toned down a little bit more, it'll be a more wearable fragrance, it'll be a better fragrance. And that is Amir Air Oud Intense Oud. The one that ranks somewhere in between because I think it leans a little bit more feminine, but I think guys can pull it off. And you have to love fruity ambers to like this fragrance. A woman would probably love it, and that is Ashwad. In the opening, you get a very fruity opening consisting of a green apple. You get a very juicy pineapple. Then in the heart, you get some florals of jasmine, which is a little bit too much for me, but it's enjoyable in this. You get vanilla that adds sweetness. You get this musk. They're making the whole composition powdery, so it's a powdery amber, a fruity amber, a sweet amber. Now this is a sweet, fruity, powdery amber. Women, I know you will enjoy it, but this is one I enjoy, and that is Ashwad. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. By the way, my scent of the day is Intense Patchouli from the house of Nicolai. Everybody stay safe. Come back and see me, and I will see you soon. Peace.